You see it in movies, you hear it in songs, and maybe you see it at home. Two people meet, fall in love, and decide to stick together. It seems like the human way. But have you ever wondered, are humans really monogamous? Are we built to have only one partner?
What if, for some species, settling down with just one partner isn't about love at all?
Scientists estimate that over 90% of all mammal species are polygamous. And it's not just mammals. This strategy is a huge hit with fish, insects, and reptiles too. So why are humans monogamous? Let's start with the opposite, polygamous. In simple words, it means one animal has multiple mates at the same time. Think of a king with many queens. Monogamous is when an animal has only one partner at a time. So, why are most mammals into having lots of partners? From a purely biological standpoint, it's a numbers game. For a male, the quickest way to pass on his genes is to mate with as many females as possible. It's like planting seeds in lots of different gardens to see which one grows. For a female, mating with multiple males could be a way to get the best possible genes for her offspring.
If having multiple partners is the quick way to boost baby numbers, why aren't human societies built that way? What's the deal?
Ever looked at the animal kingdom and felt a little inadequate? A baby giraffe is up and running in an hour. A baby dolphin can swim from birth. But a human baby? For the first year, it's basically a cute, noisy, and very demanding potato. Why are human infants so utterly helpless? And what if I told you this helplessness isn't a bug? It's the most important feature that made us who we are today. What makes humans so special? Two big things stand out. Number one, we walk on two legs. This is called bipedalism. It was a game changer. It freed up our hands to carry food, create tools,
And high five!
but to walk efficiently on two legs without wobbling around like a penguin, our bodies needed to change. Specifically, our pelvis, the bony ring that connects our legs to our spine, had to become narrower. A narrow pelvis provides better stability and support for upright walking. Number two, we have gigantic brains. Compared to our body size, our brains are ridiculously oversized. Over millions of years, our brains got bigger, and bigger, and bigger. These superpowered computers in our skulls allowed us to create tools, develop complex language, write poetry, invent iPhones, and figure out how to get to the moon. Having a big brain is a huge advantage for survival, but big brains need big skulls to hold them. And now, you probably see the problem. This is what scientists call the obstetrical dilemma. It's a huge evolutionary conflict. To walk efficiently, we need a narrow birth canal. To be super smart, we need a big head.
It's like trying to push a football through a garden hose. It's just not going to work, and trying to force it can cause a lot of damage.
Countless millions of mothers and infants have died throughout human history because of the obstetrical dilemma. Think about it. Every time a mother died in childbirth, the species didn't just lose one person. It lost the person capable of making more people. The death of a woman in her childbearing years was a devastating blow to a small tribe's ability to grow. If you lose too many mothers, your population is doomed. The dilemma also meant many infants didn't survive birth. So even when the mother survived, the next generation might not. When you combine a high rate of maternal death with a high rate of infant death, that population graph starts to look very scary. Scientists know that at certain points in our deep past, the entire human population shrank to just a few thousand individuals. We were an endangered species. So if it was so deadly, how did our species even survive? How did evolution overcome this problem? Well, overcome isn't quite the right word. Evolution didn't find one perfect solution. Instead, It came up with a series of clever compromises and hacks to make a dangerous situation just barely survivable. If the baby's head is too big to be born, then just give birth before it gets too big. What if the baby is born unfinished? The evolutionary compromise was this: give birth when the baby's head is still small enough and its skull is still soft enough to squeeze through the narrow pelvis. This means a human baby is born ridiculously early compared to other mammals. Its brain is only about 25% of its adult size. The rest of its brain development has to happen outside the womb. That's why they're so helpless. A human baby is essentially a fetus, living outside the womb for its first year. It can't control its body, find its own food, or run from danger because its brain simply isn't wired up yet. But here's where it gets amazing. This isn't a disadvantage. This is the strongest driver of everything that makes us human. Think about it. What does a completely helpless infant require? It requires constant care. One person can't do it alone while also finding food and surviving. For a single mother in an ancestral environment, raising a child to maturity would have been nearly impossible.
She couldn't effectively forage for high-calorie foods like meat while simultaneously carrying and caring for a helpless infant.
So, what happened? It forced us to cooperate. A committed father who provided food and protection dramatically increased the odds of his offspring surviving. Natural selection would have strongly favored genes and behaviors that led to this two-parent investment. A male who stayed and helped his child survive passed on more genes than a male who mated and left. This helplessness created the need for alloparenting, or it takes a village to raise a child. Dads, grandparents, siblings, and friends all had to chip in. This strengthened social bonds and created the foundation for families and tribes. It encouraged long-term pair bonds between parents to successfully raise such a demanding child. And most importantly, that long, helpless childhood became the ultimate learning period. The human brain doesn't fully mature until the mid-20s. Because the brain is developing in the real world, it's shaped by culture, language, and teaching. We don't just pass on genes, we pass on ideas. That long childhood is when we download the software of our culture directly into the hardware of a growing brain. So, that helpless baby isn't a flaw. It's a feature. Our need to walk upright created a problem for our big brains. The solution, being born early and helpless, forced us to become a super cooperative, social, and teaching species. So monogamy wasn't just romance, it was evolution's sneaky little survival trick. So the next time you see a baby, remember, you're not just looking at a cute, helpless blob. You're looking at the evolutionary engine that drove us to become the most dominant species on the planet. So game over isn't failure. It's nature's way of testing what works and what doesn't.